Good morning and welcome to our fourth Anchored in the Word morning reflection. Today what we're going to do is we're going to take these two pieces, the wisdom of God, the providence or the authority of God. We're going to put these two pieces together and we're going to see how they work side by side in perfect harmony to accomplish God's purposes. In fact, when we talk about things like the free will of man and human responsibility, and we talk about the sovereign will of God and how God accomplishes his purposes, there was an illustration that I heard many, many years ago that I think was very good. The illustration is that it's kind of like looking at two rails on a railroad track. One rail being the free will of man, the other being the sovereignty of God. And as they move side by side, they're parallel and they're working together in perfect harmony. And if you were to look down that train track as far as you could go, eventually it would appear that those two pieces move together, and so they're accomplishing one purpose. They're going in the same direction, yet they're distinct. People make decisions. God works in history. I would say that God guides the events of history through the choices that people make, and nothing catches God off guard, and nothing is going to fall in a way that God is not going to ultimately use to accomplish his purposes. And so we see this illustrated in the text in front of us when it comes to the cross, the most significant event in human history. Let's take our Bibles, let's read again Luke chapter 20, and then we're going to look at this concept a little bit this morning. Here's what it says. And they watched him and sent forth spies, which should feign themselves just men, that they might take hold on his words, so that they might deliver him unto the power and authority of the governor. And they asked him, saying, Master, we know that thou sayest and teachest rightly, neither acceptest the person of any, but teachest the way of God truly. Is it lawful for us to give tribute unto Caesar or no? But he perceived their craftiness and said unto them, Why tempt ye me? Show me a penny. Whose image and superscription hath it? They answered and said, Caesar's. He said unto them, Render therefore unto Caesar the things which be Caesar's, and unto God the things which be God's. They could not take hold of his words before the people, and they marveled at his answer and held their peace. So as we look at this, we see the plan of God. In verse number 20, it says that this happened that they might take hold of his words, that they might deliver him unto the power and authority of the governor. Now that statement is an important statement because it shows you there's tremendous intent. The people have a plan and they're working to accomplish that plan. But then we step back and we should ask the question, why were they allowed to do this? Why did God not stop them? Why did he permit them to do what they were doing? And the answer is because God had ordained that there would be a means of salvation through the cross of Christ. And so we see this statement in another passage that demonstrates the wisdom and authority of God. This passage affirms God's sovereignty. In Acts chapter 2, verse 22, it says, Jesus of Nazareth, a man approved of God, among you by miracles and wonders and signs, which God did by him in the midst of you. As you yourselves know, him, and here's the key, being delivered by the determinate counsel and foreknowledge of God, you have taken, and by wicked hands crucified and slain. Now, this passage of Scripture affirms two things. One is that the reason that they did this is because God permitted it. The second thing that it affirms is the reason they did it is because they wanted to do it. And what you see is that the ultimate purpose, the intent behind this, God's permission, and human anger against Christ is ultimately to accomplish the purpose of bringing Christ to the cross and accomplishing our redemption. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at their intention, which is now very well established. We're looking at God permitting them to rage in the plot. He's not stopping them. He's not forcing them. They're doing it. They want to do it, but he's allowing it. And we see that God is skillfully guiding a moving vessel. As they plot and as they scheme and as they make choices, what is God doing? He is guiding this to an ultimate purpose that is going to accomplish redemption. His motive was to bring about redemption through the death of Christ. And his motive was to make sure that it happened at the right time, in the right way. This is because he determined it to fall as it did. And so the darkest moment in history is actually history's greatest triumph. Why? Because God caused it to be used for good. And so I want to challenge you to think about this week. Some of those things that we deal with in life that we cannot make sense of, we will not understand all of the pieces. But what we can do is we can recognize that there's a God in heaven that uses the events of life to accomplish purposes that are for our good. I'm reminded of Romans chapter 8. It says, we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose, whom he foreknew, he predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son. We know that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. We know that God uses suffering to accomplish his purposes. What does it say in James chapter 1? Count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptation, knowing that the trying of your faith worketh patience. Let patience have her perfect work. This is the providence of God. We need to learn to trust in his ways. Have a blessed rest of your day, and Lord willing, we'll meet again tomorrow for some final thoughts. Bye now.